Hello boys, welcome back. This is me, your Shravani Miss, and boys, I'm back to you with your English first paper. Boys, I am expecting that all of you are very well and safe at your home by the grace of Almighty, and I I would like to request you, please pray to Almighty every day because we are still safe because of His grace. Okay, so boys, today I am back to you with some WH questions from Unit 21, and I hope you are going to enjoy this lesson. So please get ready and take out your necessary accessories. So boys, before starting WH questions, I would like to discuss on some important thing, that is when you should use auxiliary verb and when you shouldn't. Okay, so in some cases we don't use auxiliary verb after the WH questions. So today I'm going to clear you about this topic. So boys, I hope you are going to enjoy it, and please listen to me very carefully and write it down at your CW copy. Okay, so we know that we usually form WH questions with WH plus an auxiliary verb, be, do or have. So I have written the auxiliary verbs in the bracket. That means be means am, is or was were, do means do, does, did, and have means have, has, had. I know you know which are the auxiliary verbs. Okay, so after WH we use an auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb. I think you know already the rules because we have done lots of WH questions. Okay, so the example is first one, where did she go? You see, here I have written WH, then the auxiliary verb D, then the subject is she, then main verb go. So where did she go? Okay, then number two, where do they where do they live? Okay, so WH plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus the main verb. Okay, then number three, who is your friend? Here is same, first of all WH, then the auxiliary verb, then the subject, then the main verb. Where had they gone? Here is same also, WH plus auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb. So actually this is the basic thing of WH questions. You always know that after WH question we use auxiliary verb, and there is another way to make WH question, that is WH plus a modal plus subject plus main verb. Actually boys, modal is also an auxiliary verb, but what is the difference between modal and auxiliary verb? Modals are unchangeable. Okay, that means you need not change the modals in the sentence. Okay, so this is another rule for making WH question, that is WH plus a modal plus subject plus main verb. Actually both rules are same, but the difference is here you are going to use an auxiliary verb and here a modal. Okay, so number one example is, where should I park? So where is WH plus modal plus I is the subject plus park. Park is the main verb. Okay, then what could he do? So what, WH plus could is the modal, then he is the subject, then do is the main verb. Okay, so this is the basic thing of WH question. Actually we usually do this, but there is a difference is that we sometimes make the WH questions without auxiliary verb. So you have to know when you are going to make the WH questions without these auxiliary verbs. Okay, so without an auxiliary verb, I have written here, you have to write it down like this in your copy. Okay, so when means যখন. Okay, this is not for the WH question. I have written when, what, who, which or whose. So boys, you have to remember these four words, that is what, who, which or whose. Okay, so what, who, which or whose is the subject or part of the subject. We do not use the auxiliary. Okay, so you have to remember that when these four words, that means what, who, which or whose becomes the subject or part of the subject, we do not use the auxiliary verb. We use the word order, that means subject plus verb. So what is the word order, boys? After subject we normally use the verb, that is called the word order. Okay, so you have to remember that what, who, which, whose. Please boys, remember these 4 things and try to memorize them. Okay, what, who, which or whose is the subject or part of the subject. We do not use the auxiliary verb. Okay, so the example is, you can see he bought this. So I have given the underline under he. Okay, so you can see he is the subject here, and when as he is the person, I am going to use here who. So you can see who becomes the subject of this sentence. So as who is the subject of this sentence, we are not going to use the auxiliary verb. That means we will direct follow the subject order, word order, that is subject plus verb. So who is the subject, then you are going to use the bought is the verb, then the object. Okay, so as who is the subject here, I have not used the auxiliary verb. So boys, I hope you have understood it now, and you have to remember these 4 WHO words, that is what, who, which and whose. These 4 words is not going to be, when these 4 words will be the subject or the part of the subject, you are not going to use the auxiliary verb. Okay, then number 2, all the animals went home without a piece of Bluster's voice. So all the animals indicates the person, that's why we are going to use here who. So all the animals is the subject in this sentence, and you can see who becomes the subject of this sentence. So that's why who is the subject. We are not going to use any auxiliary verb here. So here we are going to use who went home without a piece of Bluster's voice. So who as the subject, that's why you are going to use the verb here directly. You need not bring any auxiliary verb here. But I hope you are clear about it. What, who, which and whose. So if these 4 words become the subject or part of the subject in a WH question, you are not going to use the auxiliary verb. Okay, so how can you identify the subject? You have to read the sentence that is given. Okay, he bought these. So we know he is the subject here, that's why he is a person. I have used here who, so who becomes the person also, that's why you need not bring any auxiliary verb. Okay, all the animals is subject here, as all the animals persons indicate persons, that's why we are going to use here who, and who becomes the subject of this sentence, and that's why we are not going to use here auxiliary verb. Okay, so this is same for what, who, which or whose. Okay boys, I am going to show you something more, that is compare. So here I have written without auxiliary and with auxiliary. Okay, so you can see, first of all I have written who owns this bag. Okay, so here you can see that who is the subject of the sentence and this bag is the object, so we use no auxiliary verb. So you have to remember that when what, who, which and whose become the subject of the sentence, we are not going to use the auxiliary verb. Okay, then this is with auxiliary verb. Okay, so who do you love most? So you can see who is the object of the sentence and you is the subject. So you can see that who do you love most, I am talking about you, that's why you is the subject here, who is not the subject. Okay, so who is the object and you is the subject, so here we use the auxiliary verb do. So you have to remember that when who, what, which and whose becomes the subject, we will not use the auxiliary verb, and when they are not the subject, that means object or any other thing, we have to use the auxiliary verb. Okay boys, please write this note in your copy, and if you face any problem regarding this, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, so boys, this is all about this important rule. I am expecting that you are going to learn it very well. Now we'll go for the WH questions from your unit 21. Okay, so boys, this is the picture I have already showed you before, and you can see who indicates a person, what is a thing or an action, when indicates a time, where is a place, why is the reason or something happened, how is a number, or the way something is done. Okay, so you have to remember this. And now I am going to do some WH questions from this unit 21. Boys, when you are writing this, please mention the unit. Okay, so in number A, I have written last January I went to a Cup Campori. So last January indicates the time, that's why I am going to use here when. Okay, when, then as this is in the past tense, I have used here did. When did you know, when there is did, you have to use the base form of the verb, that is went is the past form and the base form of the verb is go. So when did you go to a Cup Campori? This is the answer of number A. Okay, so boys, I hope you are going to do this. And number B, a campori is a gathering of cups. So you can see a campori. Campori is a thing. That's why I am going to use here what. So boys, you have to remember that a campori is the subject, and instead of the subject we have used here what. So what is the subject here. So you need not bring any auxiliary verb. You are going to use the verb here, that is. Okay, what is a gathering of cups? So I have already showed you this rule, that is when, what, who, which and whose. These four things become the subject of the WH question, that is subject of the sentence. You are not going to use the auxiliary verb. So here you can see is the main verb, that's why I have used here is. Okay, what is a gathering of cups? Boys, you know that am, is or was are the auxiliary verbs, but you have to remember that when they sit alone in a sentence, they becomes the main verb of the sentence. So now we are going for number C, that is the Cup Campori took place in Srimangal. So boys, Srimangal indicates the place, that's why we are going to use here where. So, and as this is in the past tense, we have to use the auxiliary verb did. Okay, so where did the Cup Campori take place? But you can see that I have used the base form of the verb to. Okay, where did the Cup Campori take place? Okay, then number D, we played games with cups from other parts of Bangladesh. So you can see the underline is under we, that indicates the person, and as this is person, we are going to use here who, and as who is the subject of this sentence, we need not bring any auxiliary verb. That means we are going to use the verb directly, that is played. Okay, who played games with cups from other parts of Bangladesh. Then number E, there were 12 members. Boys, this is the indication of numbers. We know when we are going to use the numbers, we have to use how many. Okay, so how many members are there? So there were 12 members. This is this indicates the past tense, that's why you need not change this verb here. So you are going to use here how many members are there. Okay, so boys, this is all about WH questions from this unit. Actually I have chosen this from this unit so that I can give you some examples based on my today's topic, that is with auxiliary verb and without auxiliary verb. Okay, so in this case you always have to remember these four WH words, that is what, who, which and whose. So if they become the subject of the sentence, you are not going to use the auxiliary verb. Boys, please write down all of the things in your CW copy, because if you don't write, you may forget everything. So this is your duty to show me that you have written everything in your CW copy. Okay, so boys, get ready for another class, and I am going to meet you again. Thank you for watching my video, boys, and I would like to request all of you please subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed it yet, because there are lots of students but subscription is very poor. So boys, please subscribe my channel, because without subscribing it you will not be notified. Okay, so boys, get ready for another class. I will upload it very soon. So boys, till then, stay safe and healthy, and please take care of you and your family, and thank you for watching my video, and please stay safe boys. Thank you.